Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Football Nerd video. And today I'm going to ask and give my answer to the question, can the Cleveland Browns go 0-16? Now, if you know my channel and stuff that I do here, then hopefully you know that I don't just dive into the shallow end of discussing a question like this or a topic such as this. No, my friends, I go a little bit deeper, which every once in a while it does lead me on a random tangent, but today that shall not happen. Today I shall just dive in the deep end on this question. So, can the Cleveland Browns go 0-16? Now, they lost yesterday, of course, to the Dallas Cowboys. And I've been wanting to talk about this topic for a little bit more than a week because last week they became 0-8. 0 wins, 8 losses. So, can the Cleveland Browns go an entire season with 0 wins? I say yes, the Cleveland Browns can go an entire season without winning a game. Now, with the way that the NFL game is versus other professional sports, which I'm not a hockey nerd or basketball nerd or baseball nerd or soccer nerd, so just please give me a break here whenever I say this, but in case I'm wrong, which I think I'm right, but football is the professional sport that has the least amount of games. Uh, I think so. So if I'm wrong, just please don't get angry. Okay? I'm not the sports nerd. I'm just the football nerd. But yeah, so not winning 16 games. Well, going winless for a season in the NFL is easier than other sports. I know baseball is like 150 games, I think. I, I don't even know. So just please don't get angry with me if you like the other sports that I'm getting facts wrong. I do apologize. So yeah, the Browns. Now, time to answer the question. That wasn't a tangent, by the way. That was relatable. I seem to get sidetracked all the time. So yeah, to answer the question, I think the Cleveland Browns can go 0-16 because they only have to play 16 games, and the Browns are poorly built. The Browns are they're just poorly built. They're just not built very well. I mean, I thought new head coach Hugh Jackson would really help out that Cleveland Browns organization, which last year he was the Cincinnati Bengals offensive coordinator. And he helped turn around the Raiders back in 2011 and helped them to a either 9-7 or an 8-8 record, which is something in Oakland that was unheard of for at least a decade. Which now they're back on the map and leading their division. But this video is not about the Oakland Raiders, you might say. And yes, I do agree with you. I do agree with you 100%. Now, yesterday, the Cleveland Browns fell to 0-9 on the season. So, they have 7 games left to match what the 2008 Detroit Lions did in going winless 0-16, which there have been other instances where teams have gone winless during a season before you say that. But I know the Phoenix or the St. Louis Cardinals, I can't remember what they were in the 70s, but they lost something like they lost a lot of games, but I know the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost a lot of games in a row, like 25 or 26 in a row back when they were a new franchise. And the, well, the NFL moved to a 16-game schedule in 1978, so you have to keep that in mind. For that person that's gonna comment, well, someone went 0-14. Well, I'm talking about 0-16. Well, maybe someone didn't go 0-14, but still, even if they did, I just kind of shut that comment down because, second team to go 0-16, which would be the Cleveland Browns if they did that. Which I looked at their schedule, and they play the Baltimore Ravens on Thursday Night Football this Thursday in Baltimore, I do believe. Which I think their bye is December 4th whenever I looked at it. Let's see, they play teams with winning records. They play the Giants, and then they play the Steelers twice. Which you might be like, oh, well, the Steelers are struggling too this year. Well, historically, ever since the 90s began and Bill Cowher came over or took over as Steelers head coach in 92, the Browns have been the nail to the Steelers' hammer. Whether it be before they moved to Baltimore or the new Cleveland Browns. So, especially in the rebooted Cleveland Browns, my gosh, they've been the nail to just about everyone's hammer that they face, especially the Steelers. So, yeah, I was also thinking about it, and personally, I don't think Hugh Jackson's job, well, I don't think he's going to be fired. I personally do not think that Hugh Jackson, the Cleveland Browns head coach that I mentioned earlier on, is going to get fired from the Cleveland Browns at this rate. They haven't fired him yet. I don't think they're going to in January. And you might be like, oh, well, that's crazy. How are they not going to fire him? If they go 0-16, then you know they're going to fire him. Well, the thing is that this is Hugh Jackson's first year as the Cleveland Browns head coach. And thus, I think they will give him a second chance to be the head coach and give him a second season. And the thing is that the Browns, especially in the early stages of the season, were close to winning a game or two. They almost beat the Dolphins, and they almost beat the Baltimore Ravens back a long time ago, back in Baltimore, or back in Cincinnati, or back in Cleveland. About the Bengals and Ravens too much. Well, I'm thinking about the Bengals too much. Hugh Jackson connection there. Offensive coordinator there last year. But yeah, so they will play in Baltimore this Thursday night, the Browns and the Ravens. And maybe the Browns will fire Hugh Jackson after this year, but frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if they kept him or fired him. But I think that Hugh Jackson is a good coach. I just think that he has inherited a bad Browns team that let people go on free agency in the past couple of years, like quarterback Brian Hoyer, like tight end Jordan Cameron, like center Alex Mack. And plus, they're thinking about releasing wide receiver Josh Gordon, which, yeah, he's been dealing with weed and all that, which, by the way, guys, I don't condone you guys using weed, so don't do that. That's bad. Josh Gordon got suspended for it, so you'll get in trouble for that. But yeah, so they are thinking about releasing him after he went into rehab, if not already released him, and that's just Browns-esque. And my point is that the Browns have not replaced Brian Hoyer, Jordan Cameron, Alex Mack, and Josh Gordon with good players that they can build around. Back when they were revitalized in 2014 for the first half of the year, Brian Hoyer was having a really good year, Jordan Cameron was having a good year, and Josh Gordon was coming back from suspension. Which he did it a second time, by the way, so they were having a good year under those veterans, and now, I mean, sure, Cameron Irving might be a good center, and that, well, the Browns have played like 6 quarterbacks in 9 games. I'm serious, 6 quarterbacks in 9 games. Wrap your mind around that for a second. But Cam Irving played well at Florida State as a left tackle before midway through his senior season moving to center. But I personally think that he could have moved Cam Irving over to right tackle and just made that line better. You could have just... And then Gary Barnidge. Gary Barnidge is a good tight end, but still, you just... I personally prefer Alex Mack and Jordan Cameron over Cameron Irving and Gary Barnidge. And certainly Brian Hoyer over the 6 quarterbacks that they have played this year. Man, I can only name 4 of them off the top of my head. You got RG3, Robert Griffin III, that's played. You got Cody Kessler, that's the main starter, I think, after Robert Griffin III got hurt. Then you had Charlie Whitehurst. Oh yeah, I can name 5. Then you got Charlie Whitehurst, so that's 3. Then you have Kevin Hogan, that's 4. Then you have Terrell Pryor that played a little bit, that's 5. And I can't remember the 6th one. So the Browns, yes, I think they can go 0-16. That's the simple answer. Now, the in-depth, yeah, the shallow answer is yes, I do believe they can. But the thought out answer to that question is what I just told you. So yes, guys, I do believe that will do it for this football nerd video. And until the next James Talks About NFL Football, I will see you all later. Goodbye, guys. Thank you all for watching. Oh, and as always, go Panthers.